Welcome to Pioneer Disc Golf. I'm Mark. This is the back 9 at Falling Springs. If you haven't already watched the front 9, be sure to click up here and watch that first. Spoiler alert, I did shoot a -5, shot really well, threw really well, feel great today. But the back 9 is a little bit longer, and that's definitely not my game. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to score quite as well, but my goal is to definitely stay at -5 or better, and maybe even push up to like 6 or 7 down. Now this video is supposed to be somewhat of an what's in my bag video, but I kind of forgot to do that in the front 9. But by the end of this round, I will have made sure that I've thrown every single disc that I currently carry in my bag, and then at the very end, I'll go over all of them one more time. You didn't click on this video just to hear me talk, so let's go ahead and play hole 10. All right, hole 10 is a par 4, which I like to see. It's a pretty unique hole. You need to get really straight. There's this big tree off to the right though initially from the first gap, but once you get past that, no danger at all to your right, but you do have a little tree line to deal with on the left. Then you need to push forward pretty far, about 250, 300 feet-ish, and then you need to get quickly left. You need to get through the one little gap in the tree line, and then you need to get right again. So what I'm gonna try to do is take my Lucid Escape, hang it out a little bit to the right, let it fade back in, set myself up for a nice easy chip shot forehand to get to the green. Skip. Made a mistake. I think I threw that a little bit too far. Look at how beautiful it is out here. This is why I like coming to Falling Springs though. We're basically on farmland. So one thing that I don't love about disc golf, and take this with a grain of salt because I pretty much love everything about it, but the one thing that I don't love is the fact that most of the courses around my area at least are basically just at public parks. Does mean that they're free to play, which is totally cool and makes the sport really accessible for basically everybody. You can buy a disc for like $8 and you can go play. But sometimes the courses are extremely crowded. There's a lot of times there's just people sitting basically in fairways because they don't really understand that it's actually a fairway of a disc golf course. We're all sharing the space together. It is just a public park at the end of the day. This course just feels different. It doesn't really feel like that. Absolutely beautiful. There are a lot more scenic holes like this in the back 9 as well. Just like I thought, there's my lie. It's really bad. I gotta get all the way over there. There's the basket. Meant to tell you what I was gonna throw before I threw it. That was a Lucid Felon. Ended up pretty good. My most overstable disc, utility disc. We'll never break it out for shots like that. The drive being pinched off really hurt my chance to get a birdie on this hole. I still am about 30 feet away, so still have an opportunity. Just gotta make a putt. I might be 33 feet. I'm gonna jump putt this. If I make it, you can comment below if you think this was inside the circle or not. And then I'll add a stroke. At least I finally didn't airball a potential circle 2 putt. Been doing that a lot. Took a par, still 5 down through 10. All right, on to hole 11. This one's pretty tough just because it's 370 feet, but it is a par 3. Once you get through the wide open field, you kind of penetrate into this little grove of trees. And then the pin placement is kind of there in the back. So really, if you can get off the tee and get into the tree line, you get kind of past that first layer of trees, you can set yourself up for the relatively easy par. But if you don't throw a great drive, it's gonna be tough to get up and down and save a par. Of course, if you can throw the disc really far, you can potentially get a birdie. I'm gonna try my Wraith off the tee, 164 grams, Star Wraith. I've had it for 2 years, throw it all the time, so it should flip up as long as I throw it decent. That seemed to be really good. Kind of went through that right gap, but definitely saw the disc skip up a little bit. Maybe have a little flare skip to in closer to the basket. Definitely didn't hit any trees, and it does, after you get past that first tree line, does start to slope downhill, so I could potentially have a little look for the 2. Yeah, here's my drive. This was fantastic. I'm not gonna have a real clean look for the 2 because there's some trees in the way. Ooh, I don't know, it's kind of wide open. Yeah, definite gap right there through the trees. Probably about the same distance as the last one. This is definitely circle 2. This is like 40 feet. I'm gonna jump putt it again. Oh, it's low again. Same mistake again. That was definitely one of my better drives, and even have a look for the 2. Definitely not gonna complain with that. So through 11 holes, there's only 4 discs in my entire bag that I haven't thrown yet in this round. 2 are brand new to my bag from yesterday. So one of those is gonna be the Taylor. The other is the Tactic. I got both of those from the Discmania mystery box. And then another disc that I haven't thrown yet is a P1. And then also this really cool Paradox. This is the most understable mid-range that I have. I think it's a 4-speed. basically just goes straight right out of your hand. But I'll make sure at one point in these last few holes that I end up throwing all 4 of these discs at least once. All right, but as you can see, hole 12 is an absolute bomb of a hole. It's par 3, it's 463 feet. But the vast majority of that footage is downhill. So if you have a tiny little arm like me, it's not too big of a deal. Basically, you can get it decently far down there, chip shot it up, make your putt for the 3, and that's exactly what I'm going to try to do. Star Wraith again, I really don't want to get much turn on this at all because I definitely want to end off a little bit more to the left than the right. And there's the turn I didn't want. Come on back. Kind of ripped it a little bit, but like I said, I didn't want to do it. Turned a little bit too much, hit that tree on the right. Got a decent amount of work to get up and down to save this 3. I'll save it again because I love to repeat myself. It's beautiful out here. I love Kentucky. I've lived here my whole life. I've never debated moving away. Pretty much nothing could get me to move my home base from Lexington. Being a full-time YouTuber does give me a ton of flexibility in, where I travel to and all that. I would say there's a 0% chance that I ever leave my permanent residence from being in Kentucky. It doesn't have to be in Lexington. I've looked at buying land in eastern Kentucky. My eventual dream, I want to buy like 20 acres of land, build my own disc golf course, build a little cabin out there, and have that place to always go to. Wouldn't live there permanently. I would always keep a house in Lexington, but I want a place that I can kind of get away to. It's my dream. All right, so there's the lie, there's the basket. Just like I thought, I just turned it a little bit too much. Almost got lucky and kind of pushed through down there and would have had a more open approach. It's a great opportunity to throw my tactic. Forehand chip shot. That wasn't great. Should have thrown a little bit higher. A little tricky putt coming up. It's a definite tester, all of 20 plus feet. Definitely a little bit breezy down here. The chip shot wasn't too bad, just left a little bit of extra work for that putt. Thought about it a second too long, hung it out a little bit to the right, off the cage, bogey. Oh well, drops my round score to -4. Whatever, moving on to hole 13. This one's 280 feet, but is very uphill. There's a lot of danger right in front of the basket. The green's on a very weird area. It's gonna need to be a pretty powerful hyzer. Get it all the way up. There's a little tiny tree to the right with that little yellow thing in the ground next to it. Aiming at that and hyzering into the basket is a pretty good play. I think Old Mark would have taken the Wraith again off the tee, but it's not that far. It's definitely gettable. I think I'm gonna try my escape on that line that I just mentioned, on the hyzer line, towards that little tree. Trust that this disc is gonna fade back. Didn't quite get as far as I wanted to, but basically hit my line perfectly, just a little bit short. Big thing that I'm trying to focus on, not always going up to the big high-speed discs just because the hole seems a little bit far. 280 uphill, I can get a fairway driver there. I know I can. I need to not always just think, oh, I need a Wraith, oh, I need a Wraith. Trust those slower discs every once in a while. There's the lie, there's the basket. A lot of work to do. Well, there's yet another par. I told you, the back nine is a little bit hard in the front nine, but I definitely want to get another birdie and get back to -5. All right, on to hole 14, 488 feet, par 4. Basically, get straight, go all the way up. You'll see the little gap where the drone's flying, and then kind of get off to the left. The basket's right there. Definitely one of the more gettable holes on the back. You don't even need an amazing drive. You need to basically set yourself up for an easy approach, execute the approach, knock in your putt, get your 3, move on to the next hole. Sticking with my theme to disc down, I think typically I would throw a Wraith off the tee here. However, I'm gonna try the escape again. I just threw it pretty well. I executed what I was trying to do decently. Let's try that again with a 9 speed instead of an 11 speed. Go right. Oh. Would have liked for it to work itself a little bit more to the right, but I think that's gonna be okay. All right, there's the lie. Basket's up over there that way a little bit. Pretty wide open. I'm not that far away from it, so it's gotta be a backhand, something pretty stable. Threw that maybe a little bit higher than I was wanting to. I threw a fell in again, but I definitely penetrated pretty far up there. I think I actually threw it past the basket. I actually crushed it a little bit. Decent amount of work left to go. It's a birdie putt. 25 feet. Again, kind of right on line, but just low. I've hit the pole now a bunch. For that relatively disappointing par, I am still -4, and I've got 4 more holes to go. Definitely slowed down a lot, kind of showing my weaknesses on these wide open holes. Just not great at getting birdies on. Just don't quite throw far enough. That approach in that last hole wasn't awful. I shouldn't have had to make an approach like that. If I threw a better drive, my approach would have been easier, less technical, potentially could have set up an easier putt. Okay, on to hole 15, another bomber of a hole. It is a par 4, thankfully. It's 462 feet, pretty much wide open. Need to get really far down there, and then the hole actually does go to the left. I wanted to see how I do with the wraith off the tee to see if I can get some distance out of here, and just to see if I can push up and give myself an easier approach. Oh. Okay. I seem kind of all right. Definitely not like amazing or anything, but I think that that's gonna be fine because I should have a wide open look to the basket because I'm walking up to the basket and it's right there. I can see it. It's a good landing spot because like I said, you can see the basket. Now I just got to execute a nice little upshot. I think I'm just gonna take a P2 and a hyzer. They're decently stable enough. I don't think I need a mid-range from this far, especially since it's downhill to that green. So I'm just gonna throw a P2 and a hyzer. Landed right near the basket. Might have skipped a little bit in there, but I doubt it skipped too far. Oh yeah, this is totally fine. Set down about 12 feet away. All right, I need to make this putt for birdie. Oh, that's really muddy. Really liked my drive, ended up basically right where I wanted it. That way I had that wide open approach, and then I executed the upshot with the P2 really well. All right, hole 16, 311 feet, par 3, straight uphill. Definitely somewhat of a bomb to get it up there. I'm gonna try the wraith again. Yeah. Planted a little bit far forward off the tee, kind of slipped a little bit. But I think I got a lot of good power behind that. Felt my hips get into it a little bit more. Kind of pushed pretty far up there. I think I'm circle 1. Still need to throw that P1 at Paradox at least at some point. Close enough, maybe I'll just putt with the P1. Oh yeah, this is solid. There's the lie, there's the basket. Yeah, I'll go ahead and just putt with the P1. I think it's close enough that I shouldn't miss that. Just to say that I threw it for the round. I would typically throw the P1 when I need a little bit more of an understable throw. But I'm like putter distance, I'm like 80 feet, so I don't need like a mid-range, but I need something more understable than overstable. That's the only time I'd ever use this. Definitely not a typical putting putter for me. But if it works, it works. Hole 17 is a 476, slightly downhill, par 3. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get a birdie on it, but a par is definitely good. Wraith off the tee, hopefully the same way I threw the last 2 holes. And then I will make sure to throw the Paradox for my upshot. Just so I can say I threw every single disc in my bag this round. Wow. I think I did a decent job there trying to really come up on that athletic stance, push that left arm down. That seemed to get pretty good flight out of it. Still not quite as far as I could go, but overall technique, that seemed pretty decent. Yeah, it was definitely smoked drive for my standards. There's my lie. I've got 70 feet to go. So 400 feet of a throw, but obviously a lot of that was downhill. Yeah, this is the only disc that I've not thrown in my bag yet, I believe. I could be wrong. I'll go over all the discs at the very end just to make sure. Yeah, this is a very understable mid-range disc, so basically just gonna throw it on a hyzer to kind of like pitch it up. Ought to be fine. Typically never would have thrown that disc right there in that situation, but whatever. I think I'm still like 15 feet, maybe 12 feet. Hopefully can make that putt, keep my -6, go on hole 18. That's totally fine. Well, we'll see. All right, on hole 18, 454 foot, par 4. Basically got to get far and straight. There's that little tiny fenced off area to the right. That's a really good landing zone right around there. Then you'll set yourself up for a nice wide open approach to the green and hopefully lock in your birdie. I'm gonna stick with what's working. The wraith off the tee is doing phenomenal, so I see no reason to disc down when I'm throwing it as well as I'm throwing it right now. Threw it a little low. Definitely noticing more control by locking my wrist into place, coming up with my knees already bent, trying to use those legs more, planning with that foot as horizontal as I can, that front foot, the right foot, and then really opening up and throwing that left arm down. That's what I'm trying to do. Obviously not gonna do it every time, but that's definitely getting me more power and more control over a high-speed disc like a wraith. A little bit short of my landing zone. I wanted to be up by like that black little fenced-in area. And this is a shot that I don't love because I have so many different options. I could throw a P2, I could throw an MD300 bigger hyzer, I could throw an Iron Samurai forehand. So many different options, and that's one thing that I don't like about open disc golf. Kind of like being pinched off in the woods for an upshot where like you really only have one choice. Makes it a lot easier to decide when you only have one choice. But I just realized that I lied to you guys. I haven't thrown the Taylor yet. I have not thrown that disc in this round yet. I just realized that kind of digging through my disc. This looks like a perfect shot for a Taylor. It's a 4-speed, it's kind of dead straight, but if I hang it out a little bit to the right, it has a 1 stability, so it can kind of fade on back in. This is actually a perfect disc for this. Oh. Maybe hung it out a tad bit wide. That should be okay. Definite bummer way to end that round, missing that putt. I think it finished -6. It's not bad. All right, so done with the back 9 at Falling Springs. Now I just really quickly wanted to go through all these discs one more time, just because there's a few that I threw in the front 9 that I didn't throw at the back 9. Just to make sure you know exactly what I've got in here. First up, 2 putting putters, P2s. I throw them a bunch too. I don't just strictly use them for putting. I don't know why I said that. 2 P2s. Next, P1. I kind of explained that a little bit why I have that one. Then this is the newest addition, the Tactic. Great for approach shots, forehand specifically. Love that disc. Next, my least understable mid-range is going to be the Paradox, and followed by the Taylor 4401. Kind of botched the upshot on hole 18 with it, but still a great disc. In the Origin, I didn't use that enough today. Just on holes like this where they're so wide open, really didn't need it that much. I think I used it on hole 8 and I got a birdie with it. Next up, MD3. Love this disc. Then the Iron Samurai 4, basically the same as the MD3, just a little bit more stable. And the most understable fairway driver is the Sidewinder. Love this disc. This is my utility disc, the Felon. I also have a Vandal, an Escape, and then a DD1, and then my go-to distance driver, my Wraith. Those conditions were a little bit tougher than I thought. Now that I'm sitting in my car, I realized how cold it was. My hands were somewhat numb, my nose is totally messed up, but I wouldn't have it any other way. That was so much fun. I absolutely love doing this. I can't believe that I've got this little following growing and that I get to kind of do this and make videos like this and people actually watch them. I had very little expectations for this channel when I started it. Kind of just wanted to make some videos, filming my disc golf rounds. That way I could kind of see my own technique evolve. The fact that I've got already so many subscribers and people watching is really blowing my mind and making me excited to make even more content and get out there and play even more disc golf. If you haven't already watched me play Veterans with the Discmania Mystery Box Challenge, front 9 of that is going to be linked right up here and the back 9 is going to be linked right up here. But don't forget to like and subscribe if you've not already done so. Hope that you have a fantastic day, and with all that being said, I will see you in the next video.